This is the common rush, and like its name, it actually is common. In fact, a species of this occurs all around the world, and scientists refer to that as a cosmopolitan species. Now, in its environment, like this pond edge, it provides food for some creatures, habitat, and its roots can actually help stabilize the muddy soil. But we're not here today to talk about the ecological significance of the common rush. We're here to talk about the historical significance. This common rush has an uncommon history. It was actually used as a light source for hundreds of years. But in order to show you that, I'm gonna have to get someplace just a little drier, okay? How about my backyard? Okay, well, we're back here in my backyard studio, and we're going to look at how to make a light source out of a rush. But in order to do that, step one, you've got to identify what a rush looks like. Now, I've got 3 plants here, and honestly, they all look like grass, don't they? There's only one grass plant here. This in front of me here is a sedge. This is the grass, and over here's the star of our video, the common rush. Now, you look at these and you say, how in the world am I going to tell these apart from each other? They all look like grass. It turns out it's quite easy. You just have to look at the stem. A close examination of the stem of each one of these will tell you what they are. It's what I call STEM education. Okay? Let's take a look at the sedge plant first. The sedge stem, if you look closely, it's got these flat sides and it's got some very defined edges. So you can think sedges have edges. Now let's take a close look at the stem of a grass. The grass stem is round. And if you turn it on edge, you can clearly see that it's hollow. So think of bamboo, right? The world's tallest grass, and for the most part, it's hollow. Over here, finally, we have our rush. Like the grass, the rush stem is round, but unlike the grass stem, it is not hollow. It is filled with these these thin-walled parenchyma cells. We just refer to that as pith, and it is that pith that's going to allow us to turn this into a little candle. Now, in order to show you that, I'm going to have to clear off all of this and set up to show you how to make a rush candle. So how do we go about turning the rush into a rush light, or what they call a rush candle? Step one, select the biggest, the thickest stem that you can find. Try to get one that's nice and straight as well, and then trim it to length. And you can pick whatever length that you want to cut it to, but typically 15 inches was a normal style or a common style at the time. And then it's simply a matter of peeling off all of the green stuff on the stem, what they call the cuticle. And you just take your fingernail, or you can take a knife blade, and look, you can just start peeling that away. See how that just kind of pulls away from the stem like that? And I'll flip it over upside down sometimes and peel from the other side. But anyway, what you keep doing is peeling it away until you're left with just a single thin strip of green left behind, and that's just to help support this, because if you don't leave that green strip on there, the whole thing would collapse. Let this dry out in the sun, because you want that pith to be nice and dry, and the reason for that is it's got to absorb grease. So you put it in on a plate, or you could fold some aluminum foil up, or I actually carved a little wooden trough here that I can pour grease into. Now that's what you need next, is some leftover grease. Now, you know, modern times, we generally kind of toss the grease away. But in the old days, people didn't throw stuff away so readily, including grease, because they could use it for things like making a candle. So, now that I've got this in this little trough, we just take this hot grease and we'll just pour it in there and let that soak for a couple of minutes, then pull it out and let it kind of solidify. You can actually re-dip it again, almost like dipping a candle, and get a little thicker if you want. Once that is set, then it's a matter of putting it in something that'll hold it, will support it, because by itself, here's one, this is a small one, look at that, it just falls right over. So what they had were these rush lamps, kind of an iron little apparatus that almost like a pliers that would pinch the end to kind of hold this in place. What I did was I made a makeshift one out of just a piece of wood, and I put a paper clip on the end just so that we can support this. So let me go ahead and put this on the end here, if I can get that on there. Stick that on there to hold it in place. Generally, a 45-degree angle was a good angle to keep it at. If it's too high like this, it burns a little slow. If it's too much to the side, it burns too quickly. So you can kind of adjust it where you want. Now, if I were to light this out here in this bright sunlight, of course, that would not be very impressive because the flame is kind of feeble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some place dark. I'm going to go into my tool shed and light this up and let you see what a rush candle looks like. Okay, well, we are in the tool shed and we are ready to test this out. So let's get it dark in here. I'm going to close the door. Hang on one second. Let me close this door. Get a little darker in here. And let's go ahead and light this up. Light up our little rush candle here. It's got to warm up. All right. There we go. Check it out. Now, the true test, of course, is can you read by the light of a candle? So let me go ahead and open up a book here and see if I can see any print on here. Oh yeah, no problem. No problem at all. I can definitely read by this candlelight. So there you go, guys. It definitely works. The common rush, a rush candle. Oh, and by the way, before you rush out there to try to make one of these yourself, remember, this is an open flame, so treat it just like you would any candle. Just use a little bit of caution. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. We'll see you in some future videos very, very soon. Bye-bye.